Hey everyone, I'm Steven.
And I'm April. And this is your weekly dose of what's new, what matters, and what's changing in the world of ABA and ethical business leadership.
We're live every Monday to bring you the headlines, insight, and honest conversation you won't hear anywhere else.
And if you're catching this on Tuesday, welcome to the podcast version, where we turn real-time updates into lasting takeaways.
This is the ABA Business Leaders News Update, powered by 3Pi Squared.
Good morning. Good morning, everyone. Happy Monday. Yay. All right. How's everyone doing? June tends to be a really wild and crazy month for a lot of people. Some have already out of school and begun their summer and feeling the off-schedule craziness, right? And some people like us are finishing out the school year and doing all the end of school year things, right?
Can you check the sound?
I will check the sound. The sound is good.
All right.
So good morning. We're here to bring you the news. ABA Business Leader News. Are you guys ready for this? I don't know.
I'm not sure I'm ready for this.
I don't know that Steven's ready for this, but
I got on again. Amazing speed.
look at you.
All right. So
Today's kind of like one of those Mondays that we've already accomplished like a whole day's work before we even started news today.
Yes.
It's amazing what some sunshine and warmth will do for you, right? All right. Well, I don't know. Are we ready to talk about the news?
Yeah, let's do it.
Well, we have some people. So you guys who are watching live, I am trying my best to monitor all the chats. And if you have any comments, questions, you want to join the conversation, just do so. And we'll include you.
So I wrote these, or I got these together like 5 days ago, I think.
Yeah, Steven's like really on the ball, like planning ahead.
So I don't even remember what stories we're going to talk about today. Okay. And then I'm going to monitor. Here we are. I think that this is.
And those of you who are listening to this on Tuesday, because remember, if you ever miss the Monday morning news, it's going to be on
Tuesday on the podcast.
So wherever you listen to our Friday podcast, same spot, same place. This will be on Tuesday. All right. So let's hit it. The first, don't you love it? HIPAA breaches aren't just a big company problem. What ABA businesses need to learn from the Well Now settlement. All right. I feel like we've already talked about this.
Yeah. Did we? Oh, man.
Did you pull up last week's news?
Maybe it didn't. See, I got so ahead of myself that I
I wasn't sure because, HIPAA is a thing that we talk about often. And so, well, while we let Steven have a minute to pull up last week. See, sometimes being ahead of the game
maybe
throws you
this a really critical step.
Throws you off sometimes, and that's okay.
You just have to go to the actual articles.
That's okay. We can pivot. That's, if anything else in life, I think that's something that we've gotten really good at doing, pivoting, because things are going, it's never going to go exactly to plan. Our plans are just there to help guide us. But I'm learning to have flexibility within that. All right. So here we go. All right. Today's real news article. There is one about HIPAA again today, though, I will say. But we'll go with the first one. I don't know. Maybe you scroll down. I don't think that's the first one.
Well, it doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter. Well, let's just start at the top and move our way down.
I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay.
All right. So you click on that so I can see the full. Is that the full article?
No, this is the summary.
Summary.
Yeah.
All right. We'll just go through it the best we can. Okay. So our first news article for today: when systems fail families, ABA can still be a lifeline. So I'm just going to go through the summary here.
Yeah.
Sorry about this, guys, if you feel like I'm reading to you, but this is what I've got today. When you see a story like the one out of Thunder Bay, a child denied Jordan's principal funding for ABA. Parents struggling for years to access care, it's a gut punch. But it's also a powerful reminder of why ABA, when done right, really does change lives. In Canada, access is patchy with wait lists and funding red tape. Families face heartbreak that is all too familiar, yet there are huge differences compared to the U.S. despite the struggles we see in American insurance and Medicaid, the sheer scale of access. If imperfect, gives many more families a fighting chance. This article unpacks what happened in Thunder Bay. So it's Thunder Bay in Canada?
Yeah, Ontario.
Ontario. Why ABA remains essential for so many and how ethical ABA practice owners can advocate for access and quality on both sides of the border. We explore why ABA startups, established clinics, and BCBAs need to fight for transparent funding, clear communication, and most importantly, client-centered care. There's also a call for more compassion and intake, onboarding, and how we support families through the system, not just in the clinic. If you want to remind yourself, your staff, or your community why this work matters, even when the system fails, the story's for you. All right. So any of you guys who are listening or watching who are in Ontario right now, I'd love to hear from you. I know there's a lot going on in the ABA world in Ontario. And now that we're in Atlanta, Canada, we've been here for a few years. There are a lot of differences in how the two systems work. And I think there's pros and cons for both sides. But I don't know what's some takeaway from this article and what can business owners do?
This family was struggling. They had a bunch of different therapy, and then they managed to get ABA therapy full time for their child, and they saw it was life-changing difference. Their child was able to communicate with them and things were going well. And when they went to reapply for the next year of ABA therapy, it was like $200,000 bill. They were denied.
Can you go? So I can see how ABA business. Okay. Yeah. They were denied.
Yeah.
Oh, through the Canadian system?
Yes, and so now they're fighting back and forth because there's the Jordan, I can't remember what it's called. It was the Jordan principle or something like that, which says that they have to give, the Jordan principle. So it ensures that Indigenous children receive essential services without delay. And so now they're going back and forth of what is essential services, right? And so like the family's like, this is absolutely essential. And the government is, I don't know about that. So
interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there again, that's what's really great about when you're providing ABA and you're recording the data and charting the successes, right? And the growth. And then also the fact that, if you're using research-based principles, right, that could also, still a fight, but those things may all help to, move the screen. Okay, so how ABA practice owners and leaders can respond. So make family education part of every intake and ongoing service so parents know their rights and what good ABA looks like. I think this is super important. We talk about it in the financial agreements, right? Like we really, need to explain the financial breakdown and the terminology and like co-pays and co-insurance and all of that to the best that we can to our families, part of the No Surprises Act as well. And I think too, if you don't have, like in the States, if you don't have knowledge about educational law and IEPs and all of that, then it would be really great to collaborate with someone, an advocate or educator or someone in your community that could help provide some insight for the families that you work with of what their legal rights are within the school system, and yeah, just help support the families. And if it's something that you feel like, okay, well, this is not an area that I know enough about yet, then reaching out to other BCBAs in your area. I think this is where it's really important to reach out to those in your community, because no one knows no one knows more about the specifics within your community like those who are also practicing, right? So it'd be a great thing also to reach out to your state ABA organization, to see if there are even any more resources, in that area. Another way that ABA practice owners and leaders can respond: build strong partnerships with, I just said that, with local advocates, schools, and allied health professionals to ensure no child falls through the cracks. Focus on actionable onboarding and training for staff, so that every therapist is ready to provide ethical, effective care, even in complex family situations. I can't scream it enough. I can't yell it enough. Train your staff. And training doesn't just mean to the RBT task list or to whatever, if you're, I want to start at being more inclusive and including like QABA people too. I need to learn that terminology a little bit better. But no matter what you use, and I know in Pennsylvania, there's some different not accreditations, but titles for things, and different trainings for things. So anyways, no matter where you're at, just making sure that you're training your staff to a wide range of what they need to know. Use clear, compassionate communication about what's covered, what's not, and how to navigate challenges. Reducing the stress that comes with delays or policy disputes, really, really showing up to support those families. And like I said, at minimal, helping them to find resources, pointing them in the right direction. And then, like I said, stay informed about regional and national policy changes so you can help families access all available resources, whether public or private. And yeah, like I said, I'd love to hear from those of you who are practicing in Ontario specifically, because I know that there's a lot going on there in the ABA world.
Yeah, and I just think, while there's a lot, we're in the States, we primarily work in the States. There is a lot of struggle with insurance, but like you look at this where there is no access, essentially. This is a very different situation, right? So there is some, I guess, maybe find some gratitude that there is at least a source for most families to get access to care in the States, where we're seeing a real struggle for needed care in Canada. So
yeah, definitely.
All right.
Bringing in the gratitude on a Monday morning. All right. Next, a news article for today. The real benchmark. What health bench AI and ABA's future mean for kids? So this is about AI. Fun times, AI. AI in healthcare is everywhere. And the latest health bench developments are already changing the way insurers, providers, and families think about quality care. But as we dig into the headlines, there's a risk ABA practice owners can't ignore. So this field is still new. The average BCBA has just a few years experience. And according to recent outcomes data, even basic clinical hour recommendations vary widely from one provider to the next. So what happens when you layer on AI on top of a field that's still figuring itself out? I don't know. Stephen, do you want to take this one from here? I know you have some very specific feelings on all of this.
Sure. So, OpenAI got like a ton of money here recently. I don't know, it was billions of dollars, I believe, that they're investing into healthcare, and they're working primarily with doctors, I believe, to just like make the AI system much better from a quality care standpoint. So like this is coming, and it's going to be coming everywhere, whether we want it to or not. So my concern, is and has been for some time that with the amount of experience in the field, and as the summary of the article suggests, a lot of inexperienced BCBAs that, and also on top of that, the amount, like the push for productivity, finishing treatment plans quickly, getting those billable hours, such a focus on billable hours that instead of AI being a tool, AI is going to be the decision maker. And you have, we don't know the intention behind the AI system. So if the AI system is attached to a billing system, maybe that billing system, the company decides, hey, if we increase billable hours by 10%, that means a whole lot more revenue. And you know what? If they're recommending 15 hours, we're only adding a couple hours. It's not going to hurt anybody, right? Mm-hmm. But we will see a drastic increase in revenue based on that. Like this is a big deal, right? And so if you don't know, again, the intention behind the system that is going to be making decisions, and no one can convince me otherwise, that like if you have like this is very similar to peer reviews, right? When you know that, hey, if I ask for 25 hours, I'm not going to get a peer review. But if I ask for 26, I am going to get a peer review. I'm going to ask for 25. Right. So it's just path of least resistance. I totally understand it. This isn't a judgment thing here. It's just, this is how things work, right? And so are you going to do a deep dive into this AI system and say, wait a second, you're telling me they need 25 hours when I only think they need 15, but maybe I don't really understand the full scope of things, and so instead of, justifying your rationale, you just take the word of the AI system. Does that make sense?
It does.
So this is my concern about AI. And so I don't know how to handle this. This is a concerning thing for me, because it could go the opposite way too, right? Other companies, funders, are also going to be using AI, right? And they're going to be reviewing documentation with AI, and this AI system is going to start making decisions based on that. Does that make sense? So if you're completely relying on AI to make a clinical decision, and then the funder AI says, no, you can only have 10 hours instead of 20, right? But you don't know how the AI system got the 20-hour justification, right? This can be a huge problem, right? So who is actually making the decision at this point, right? Is it the computer system, or is this an actual decision made by humans? And so that's my concern, right? Yeah. This becomes the digital bureaucracy, right? Mm-hmm. And well, the system said you only have 10, so I guess you can only have 10. So that's my concern, is maybe the system is great, but we don't know who is making the decisions behind the scenes, right? Mm-hmm. It's very similar to social media, right? Most times social media is not putting the news, or like the items at the top of your list are the ones that are going to get a reaction from you. They're not like the latest posts from your friends and family, right? It's the ones that it thinks will get a reaction from you to keep you on the system, right? So we really need to understand the intention behind the systems. And if the systems themselves are not open sourced, so you cannot see the programming behind them, then we don't know the answer to that, right? And we won't know the answer to that. So that's my issue with it.
Well, and two, it's important. I'm trying to figure out how to say this, how to verbalize it, but it's also important that, like, it's really great to have AI as a tool. It can be it's like we're learning, right? That it could be pretty beneficial if you learn like the right prompts to use. It could help clean up. I use it to help clean up some of the things I write. Just
me too.
and it doesn't change the tone or anything of what I'm writing, but it will like clean it up a little bit so that maybe it takes a little less time for me to review it. However, I'm still reviewing it multiple times and making sure that it's exactly what I'm wanting to say, and that it's just, and I'll tell it, don't change my words, don't change my meaning, just check for grammar, check for like, clear, is this clear? In my commute, things like that. And then I'm still reviewing it several times. Like I am nowhere near the point where I could just throw a prompt in, have it create something completely for me, and won't go and trust that it's going to say what I want to be said. So I think that's something too, is, as we get busy, as we have a lot of things on our plate, it can potentially be tempting to check less and less, and to be intentional and making sure that it's, that it's, we're the brain behind it, that it's our information. It's what we know as real. And it's just helping maybe for efficiency or something. I don't know, but I could see where it's like definitely slippery slope. It's such a new thing for a lot of us. And even those who we've had conversations with who have been a little deeper in this AI stuff a little longer than us, I think have some of the same questions. It's all in like how you train it, but who's training it and all of that stuff. Yeah. So it's just something to stay aware of, right? Just to really stay grounded in your why when you're using AI, right?
Yep.
Stay grounded in your why when you're using AI.
Oh, that was wonderful.
Oh, wasn't it?
Yeah. All right.
Last story. HIPAA. Now we're back around to HIPAA. So HIPAA in 2025, why every ABA company needs to rethink compliance now. So apparently there's a surge in ransomware attacks, tighter enforcement from the Department of Health and Human Services, and new rules coming for business associate agreements and risk assessments. Do we know when? This article says that HIPAA is changing fast, so we do need to keep they're in touch.
Looking at the rules right now, so
so it's in process, but we don't know exactly. Okay, so we have some comments here. AI could dramatically cut down on nurse charting. I am wondering what it would pick up. What it would pick up if we had one listening during our whole session. Yeah, it's there are so many ways that we could use AI as tools, right?
Yeah, and I think that is coming quicker than you might think, right?
And then the more accurate SOAP notes, because we wouldn't 100%. Forget anything. Absolutely. And so it's like part of me, like when we're really digging in and, we're building out a, session note training now. A little part of me, so here's where it's a slippery. The little part of me was like, oh, do we really want to put all of this time and effort into making such an in-depth session notes training when AI pretty soon is going to start doing our session notes? And then I caught myself, right? And I was like, why am I thinking that? I thought, well, this is even more reason for us to really understand what's part of it so that we can double check what it, so that we can be aware and be on top of it.
Yes. Yeah. I think that there are lots of really cool things that it can help reduce time and make sessions easier. But at that same time, where my primary concern is those clinical decisions. Who's making those clinical decisions?
Yeah, absolutely. Sorry, we'll head back to HIPAA. So it's in process. Yep. So a lot of updates are coming quickly. We don't know exactly when yet, right? But they are coming. And so really it sounds like this is awareness, right? Yep. Just staying aware and staying checked in. Yep. We'll keep you up to date here. Yep. We even have some we have resources and we have experts that we work with that can help. But so it looks like what are things So what are these items? What changes are being discussed about? The more stringent risk assessments.
Yeah, they're like, a lot of people they'll do a risk assessment, a risk analysis, and then they just forget about it, right? And okay, we switched from one email system to another, right? We didn't do a risk analysis on this new system, so this is something that that they're going to start checking more apparently. And the big thing to take away is that like the article said, ransomware has gone up 264%.
Wow.
So this is
and ransomware is like when you click on links most of the time, like
so
the unknown links
by accident, or and then now they take control of your system, and they want money to get it back. Do you know what I mean?
So I've seen multiple TV shows that are like hospital TV shows where like it's like all dramatic and the whole hospital shuts down. Correct. And and they're like some cyber attack and they're asking for billions of dollars. I mean,
nothing like this is going to happen with an ABA company, but there is still that issue that someone that should not have your information, your PHI, has your information. This is still a breach. So maybe it doesn't stop you from providing services in the short term. I would assume, if this was going on for a long period of time, maybe you wouldn't be able to update your treatment plans, things like that, right? Do new targets because some have been mastered, because you're just gonna like, what were we even working on in here,
right?
So is it going to be as dramatic as that? No, but there is still risk here, right?
Still risk, and still can affect the quality of care that you're providing. And
so it's just, again, we do now have a HIPAA consultant. If this is something that you would be interested in, please reach out. It's just something that I would highly recommend taking a look at, making sure that your systems are in place, and you shouldn't have to pay $10,000 a year for that, right? This isn't super expensive. You should be able to get this reasonably priced, and be trained on what you need to have in place.
Mm-hmm. Just if you're
where do you want me to go?
You just scroll down to the bottom. Sure. So why this matters for the recommendations. Oh, right here. Okay.
Yeah, I put it right.
So what should ABA practice owners do right now? So audit your current policies and vendor agreements. And as we talk about a lot, don't wait for that crisis to have to jump into action. Yep. Put it in your calendar, schedule time for you to do internal audits. And this is one of those internal audits that you should do. Upgrade your HIPAA policy manual. So he says here in this article, if you haven't updated it since COVID-19, it's out of date. Definitely looking for a policy that includes risk assessment, BAA templates, and state privacy law coverage. We have that. If just reach out to us if you want to know more about it. Train every employee and document it. I don't care who they are. If they are coming in contact with clients and client information, and they're in your center, I don't care if they're just a substitute that's coming in occasionally or an admin, or especially admin really would need, but techs, everybody needs to know this. Train it across the board. Run a realistic breach drill. Oh, that's really, that's something I never thought about.
Yeah, this would be very similar to, doing a session note audit, right? So just pretend you're the funder looking at the session notes. Do you have everything that would be needed if this were to happen? And this would be no different. Okay, what are you going to do? How are you going to do it? What is leadership going to do is this a breach? Who do I need to contact? Right? Just, these would be good things to do. Again, similar to a fire drill, right? Like these are just things, because if you set up your HIPAA policies and then you put them, in the closet somewhere, and then you just don't take care of it. You never look at them again until something terrible happens.
Yeah.
Then you're not really going to know what to do. Right.
Right. And then partner with a HIPAA expert. And this, like Steven said, it should not cost a lot of money. There are a lot of HIPAA experts out there that will help you in a very affordable manner. And so if, reach out to us, it's not even to use our people, right? But like, if you have any questions, if you want to run anything by us, if you're not quite sure, like what's cost effective and what's not, and who to go to, just reach out to us, schedule a free consult, and we can help you work through it.
Same thing when we recommend margin keepers, right? You don't have to use margin keepers, but you get a free consult. You might as well talk to them to see, hey, what am I missing, right? Are there things that they do that I'm not doing, and how can I incorporate those things? Same reason why I say, if you're not sold on getting our handbooks, just go to our website and look at the list that we have for each handbook, and that's your starting point, right? Same, go to Optum's Provider Express and download the audit, or go to ACQ or Jade Health, BHCOE. Get their accreditation. That's your starting point. And this is no different. Our HIPAA consultant, hopefully he'll be on the podcast shortly, but he's working with one of our clients now that I believe they were like being charged somewhere like $20,000 a month or something ridiculous like this. And he was you don't need any of this. So that's why I found this person, came highly recommended, and so this hopefully will help ABA providers mitigate that risk and do it affordably. So yeah.
All right. Well, we're a little over 30 minutes. We try to keep this short enough. So we know you're busy, but thank you for joining us today, whether you're watching it live on Monday or recorded on the podcast on Tuesday. And so we hope you have an amazing week, and we can't wait to see you next week.
Don't miss an update. Sign up for weekly alerts at news.3pisquared.com. It's the easiest way to stay informed and ahead.
If you found this helpful, please rate, review, and share the podcast. It helps us reach more people who care about ethical, sustainable ABA.
We'll see you next Monday live or Tuesday right here on the podcast. We're April and Steven, and this is ABA Business Leaders News Update.